To make this coconut milk, you can use fresh shredded coconut, coconut chunks, or desiccated coconut. Now, my favorite is using fresh shredded coconut. Now, this you can find in pretty much most supermarkets and hypermarkets. You can also use coconut chunks, which is basically the same thing. Then there's desiccated coconut. I don't prefer using that unless I absolutely cannot access fresh coconut. We're going to also use dates to sweeten the milk because it's a natural sweetener. It's got a ton of nutrients and you don't really taste the dates in the final product. I like using a little bit extra just because I try to think of what I'm using it for. Now, if I'm making chia pudding or latte, and I like it pretty sweet, so I just tend to make my milk sweeter so I don't have to add extra agave or maple syrup or coconut sugar in whatever I'm making. You can also skip the dates if you're just using it for savory food or if you don't want any sweetness. And for the water, you're going to want to use warm water. Warm water at least the temperature that you can drink. You don't want it to be too hot, especially that blender is going to get hot when you're blending it. So make sure that you're not using water that's too hot because this will affect how long the coconut milk will keep in the fridge. The reason that we're also using warm water instead of cold is to extract more of that fat from the coconut meat to emulsify with the water. Generally, for coconut milk, you want to use a ratio of 1:1 water to coconut meat. But for this recipe, I'm going to be using a little extra just because I'm adding more dates and my secret ingredient. Now, I'm using a high-speed blender here, but you can use whatever you have at home. Now you just want to blend this really well. Now our last and secret ingredient is oats. We just need a very small amount to make this coconut milk just the best ever. I'm only using about 1.5 tablespoons here. And we let that blend for about 10 seconds. Now grab your bowl and your nut milk bag if you have one and pour this mixture in. Now I'm using a nylon nut milk bag here. I used to use a hemp one before, but I noticed that this one is faster and easier to use. For the longest time, I used an old white cotton t-shirt to strain my milks. So you can definitely use that too. Just make sure it's not a colored t-shirt so it doesn't leach the color into your milk. If you have cheesecloth at home, you can definitely use that. You could use a metal strainer, but it's not going to be super smooth. It's perfectly fine to use it for chia puddings, oatmeal, or smoothies, but if you're using it for lattes, you'll find that it is pretty unpleasant on the throat. Once you're done extracting all of the milky goodness from the pulp, you can then dehydrate this and use it as flour in your baked goods, smoothies, as a source of added fiber. Now pour this into a glass bottle and keep it in the fridge for up to 2 days. Make sure that your glass bottle is airtight, as if it's not, it will go bad faster. Once you keep it in the fridge, it's perfectly normal for it to separate later on. That's just coconut cream, but if you still want coconut milk, just shake it up and use it in whatever you want to use. Now, if it separates and you see that it's turned yellow or cloudy, you want to smell it to make sure it's okay. If it smells weird and it doesn't combine like quick when you try to shake it, you want to toss it. Make sure not to keep coconut milk outside on the counter too long when you're using it because it can go bad faster. And that's it, the perfect coconut milk that you can use for pretty much anything. Let me know in the comments if this has been helpful, and if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you for watching.